We're very happy to do a presentation about our latest campaign, Public Money, Public Code. So I'm Eric, and this is Carmen. So first, what is free software? Free software is any software that is licensed under special terms that enable 4 kinds of freedom. The freedom to use the program for any purpose you like, the freedom to study the program, and having access to the source code, the freedom to share the program with whomever you like, and finally, the freedom to improve the program and share those improvements with whomever you like. So, about 2 weeks ago, we started our newest campaign, Public Money, Public Code, and our demand is actually quite simple. When public money is used, meaning taxpayers' money is used for to buy or develop software, this software should be free software. So our official demand says implement legislation requiring that all publicly financed software is made publicly available under free software licenses. And so we published an open letter on the 13th of September, signed by more than 30 organizations. Today there are more than 70 organizations and 11,000 individual signatures. Among organizations we have Creative Commons, Edgery, Modern Poland Foundation, and Open Knowledge International, who are all here today. And among the individuals, we had special support from Edward Snowden, who said about the campaign, right now, the blueprints for much of our most critical public infrastructure are simply unavailable to the public. By aligning public funding with a free software requirement, free referring to public code availability, not cost, we can find and fix flaws before they're used to turn the lights out in the next hospital.
Okay, great. I'm going to talk briefly about the advantages of free software generally and why free software is so important. And I think the foremost reason why free software is so important nowadays, especially nowadays, is because of security. With free software, you have full access to the source code and you can change it, which means that you can go through the software, the code, with a fine comb. And you can look for bugs, you can look for security issues, you can even look for, well, hidden backdoors if you like. The second reason why free software is so important is because of sovereignty or agency. Because you have, because the source code is freely available, you can look through it, it's yours. You can compile it, it's yours, and that means that the computing you do is also yours. This isn't the case if you run non-free software, where you do not have access to the source code, so you do not know exactly what the program is doing on your computer, which means that you do not truly own your computer. The third most important reason, I think, is vendor independence. If I buy a piece of free software and the vendor or the person I bought it from gets hit by a bus, I don't know, or they go bankrupt or anything happens to them, then I can go to any other vendor, any other individual, or even do it myself if I like, to fix and maintain that free software program. Were it a non-free program or proprietary program, then that would be much more difficult because the source code is only owned by a single company, a single stakeholder, so you are fully dependent on that party. Now, I'm going to also go over 4 reasons why free software is so important, specifically for public institutions. And I think the foremost reason is that free software serves the public. We pay for the software with tax money, and sometimes, well, because we paid for it, we should have access to it, really. And the second reason is it fosters innovation. Because the software code is freely available, anybody can study it, research it, and it's like standing on the backs of giants. You have all this software that is freely available, and you can use it, and you can do anything with it, do the most innovative thing that you like with it. Another reason is it fosters collaboration. Suppose for a moment that 2 very big public institutions require a piece of software that is very similar in nature. Then those 2 public institutions got band together and together write that piece of free software so that they can both use it. And not even just they can use it, but any other public institution or private institution, if you like, can use that same piece of software. which eventually leads to the fourth point, which is tax savings, because similar applications don't have to be reinvented. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to buy it again. You don't have to invent it again. It's built, and you can use it however you like again because of the first freedom, the freedom to use the software. When we launched our campaign, we published the website publiccode.eu. You can visit it now, where you can read the open letter, which we will send to representatives of the European Parliament and also national parliaments. Do sign the open letter if you like. The website has been made available in many languages, even some obscure languages such as Catalan, I believe even traditional Chinese, and upcoming Esperanto translation, which is also really cool. So we've also made a video that explains really, really well why free software is so important. So I'd like to play that for you now, if possible.
Imagine for a moment our government would treat our public infrastructure, like our streets and public buildings, the same way it treats our digital infrastructure. Our members of parliament would work in a rented space where they weren't allowed to vote in favour of stricter environmental laws because the owner, a multinational corporation, didn't allow that kind of voting in its buildings. Nor will it allow a long overdue upgrade to more than 500 seats. This means some members of parliament have to stay outside in the street. And a couple of blocks away, a brand new gym is already being torn down just 6 months after it was built. It's being replaced with an exact replica at great expense. And the only difference, the new manufacturer also provides streetball as an added feature. Meanwhile, every night through a hidden back door in the City Hall, documents that contain sensitive information on citizens, from bank data to healthcare records, are being stolen. But no one is allowed to do anything about it, because searching for back doors and locking them would infringe the signed user agreement. And as absurd as this sounds, when it comes to our digital infrastructure, things like the software and programs that our governments are using every day, this comparison is pretty accurate. Because mostly, our administrations procure proprietary software. This means a lot of money goes into licenses that last for a limited amount of time and restrict our rights. We aren't allowed to use our infrastructure in a reasonable way. And because the source code of proprietary software is usually a business secret, finding security holes or deliberately installed backdoors is extremely difficult and even illegal. But our public administrations can do better. If all publicly financed software were to be free and open source, we could use and share our infrastructure for anything and for as long as we wanted. We could upgrade it, repair it, and remodel it in any way to fit our needs. And because the open source in free software means that the blueprint is openly readable for everyone, this makes it much easier to find and close security holes. And if something practical and reliable was created digitally, not only can you reuse the blueprint all over your country, but the actual thing itself can be deployed anywhere, even internationally. A great example of this is Fix My Street. Originally developed in Great Britain as a free software app to report, view and discuss local problems like potholes, it's now being used all over the world. Everyone benefits because new features and improvements are shared by everyone. If all our software were developed like this, we could stop struggling with restrictive licenses and could start thinking about where and how software could help us. We could concentrate on creating a better society for everyone. So, if you think that tomorrow's infrastructure should be in our own hands, help us now by sharing this video and visiting our website, publiccode.eu. It's time to make our demand. Public money, public code.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed free software as much as we did. Afterwards, we will be available. You can get stickers and folders about free software and the public code campaign. Eric?
Oh, well, thank you very much. We all hope you support the campaign. It's really important for us.
Yeah, and
Thank
do
you.
sign the open letter. That's the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you.